I don't expect anyone to believe me. If I hadn't lived through it myself, I wouldn't believe it either. It was the night of February 17th, cold, silent, and heavy, with that strange tension before a storm. I live on the outskirts of a small town in northern Montana, where the sky at night stretches endlessly, a sea of stars undisturbed by city lights. That night I was up late, trying to fix the old generator behind my workshop. The power had been flickering all week, and I thought it was just another problem with the old lines. At first I thought the rumble I heard was thunder, but then I realized it wasn't coming from the sky. It was coming from above, directly above. A low, vibrating hum rolled through the air, shaking the tools on my workbench. My dog, Cooper, started barking like crazy, his fur standing on end. I stepped outside, and that's when I saw it. A streak of white-blue light slicing across the sky. Silent at first, then exploding into a deep, echoing boom. The light didn't disappear like a meteor. It slowed down. It changed direction. My heart stopped. For a moment I thought I was watching some kind of experimental aircraft, maybe a drone or a military jet. But then it faltered, spiraled, and vanished behind the tree line, less than half a mile from my property. Then came the sound, a deep thud, followed by a short wave of heat that brushed my face. Something had crashed. I grabbed my flashlight and Cooper's leash, ignoring the icy wind that cut through my jacket. Every rational thought screamed at me to stay inside, to call the sheriff, maybe even the fire department. But curiosity, or maybe something deeper, pulled me toward the woods. The smell hit me first. It wasn't smoke. It was metallic, sharp, almost electric. The air crackled like static. I moved slowly, scanning the ground, and then I saw the glow, faint, pulsing light coming from behind the ridge. My boots sank into the damp earth as I pushed forward, and then, through the fog, I saw it. At the base of a small hill was a wreck. Not a plane, not anything human. The craft was half buried in the mud, roughly the size of a pickup truck, but smooth, seamless, no bolts, no marking. The surface shimmered with shifting colors, like oil floating on water. It emitted a low hum that I could feel in my chest. Cooper growled, refusing to get closer. I knelt down, trying to see inside through a crack on the side. There was movement, something crawling. Then a hand, or something like it, reached out. I stumbled back, heart pounding. The shape that emerged from the wreck wasn't what I expected. It wasn't green or monstrous. It was fragile. The creature was tall, maybe 6 feet, but thin, almost translucent under the pale light. Its skin shimmered faintly, like the surface of a bubble. Where eyes should have been, there were deep, dark wells, reflecting the light in strange ways. It collapsed halfway out of the wreck, breathing, or at least making a sound that sounded like breathing. And then it spoke, not with words, not with sound. A pulse, a whisper inside my head. "Help, please." I froze. My instincts screamed run. Every horror story, every alien abduction tale I'd ever laughed at came rushing back. But something about that voice, it wasn't threatening. It was afraid. I looked around. The wreck was leaking some kind of fluid, glowing faintly. Smoke curled upward, mixing with the fog. Whatever this thing was, it was dying. I took a step closer. "Can you understand me?" I asked out loud. The creature tilted its head. Another pulse in my mind, weak, fading. Safe, hide. They, coming. I didn't know what it meant by they, but the tone, the urgency was unmistakable. I don't remember deciding to help it. I just remember acting. I threw my jacket over its shoulders, if you can call them shoulders, and half carried, half dragged it toward my truck. Its body was surprisingly light, almost weightless, like carrying something made of air. I wrapped it in a blanket, shoved it into the back seat, and drove home as fast as I could. My hands were shaking the entire way. When I reached my house, I pulled it into my basement, the only place without windows. I laid it down on an old mattress and grabbed my first aid kit. The creature's wounds glowed faintly, as if light was leaking from inside it. My bandages didn't seem to help. They just dissolved into the strange, shimmering skin. It looked at me, and for the first time I saw something human in its expression, pain and gratitude. Then it sent another thought into my head, stronger this time. Thank you, but you are not safe. I froze. Not safe? From who? The answer came as an image, not words. A symbol I'd never seen before. A circle split by 3 lines, and behind it, the faint outline of a NASA insignia. That was the moment I realized this wasn't some random crash, and whatever secret this being carried, it was something humanity was never meant to know. For hours I didn't move. I just sat there in that dimly lit basement, staring at the thing lying on the mattress. My hands still shook from the adrenaline, and my mind felt like it was balancing between dream and madness. Cooper, my dog, refused to come downstairs. He stayed at the top of the steps, growling softly, ears pinned back. The creature was still breathing, if that's what the faint, rhythmic flicker in its chest could be called. Every few seconds the air would shimmer around it, like heat waves above asphalt. I kept replaying that image in my mind, the strange symbol it had projected into my head. The circle, the 3 dividing lines, the faint NASA insignia hovering behind it like a ghost. It couldn't be real. It shouldn't be real. I grabbed my phone to take a picture, proof that I wasn't hallucinating, but when I turned the camera toward the creature, the screen went black. The device froze completely, and when I tried again, the phone shut off on its own. The thing stirred. Its head turned slowly toward me, and another pulse hit my mind, like a whisper echoing through fog. No. Devices. They listen. The voice was soft but layered, not one tone, but many, overlapping like echoes in a canyon. I felt dizzy, as though the words were resonating directly in my skull. I set the phone aside immediately. Who's listening? I asked, my voice trembling. The ones who silenced us, the watchers. Its eyes, if that's what those dark voids were, blinked, slow and heavy. Then, after a long pause, NASA. The word hit me like a physical blow. I laughed nervously, shaking my head. That doesn't make sense. NASA doesn't silence people. They explore space. They send rockets. They know what hides beyond. They keep what they find. There was a sadness to its voice, and fear. The air in the room began to hum, faintly at first, then stronger. The creature's body glowed again, pulsing in rhythm with the vibration. For a second, the lights flickered. I could feel the hair on my arms stand on end. Then it stopped. The glow faded. The creature's breathing slowed. It was weakening. I scrambled upstairs, grabbed a bowl of water, and returned. I didn't know what else to do. Maybe it needed moisture. Maybe it was dehydrated. When I poured a bit of water onto its hand, the droplets hovered above the skin like mercury, refusing to sink in. Instead, they began to glow faintly. The creature looked up at me, and I felt another pulse, this one gentler. You help. You light inside. I didn't know what that meant, but somehow I felt calmer. For the next few hours, I tried to communicate. I pointed to myself. Human, I said. It nodded faintly. Then it placed one long, thin finger against its chest and projected a cluster of sounds into my mind. Layered tone, almost musical. Za-rinta. I repeated it clumsily. My name? A soft had a name of approval or something followed. Close to one. Close. I pointed upward. Where did you come from? Tall closed its eyes, and suddenly my vision blurred. My surroundings dissolved into light and color, galaxies swirling, stars dying, worlds folding in on themselves. Then an image, a small blue-white planet orbiting a red sun, its surface scarred by deep rifts and glowing fissures. My home. We watched your world long before your species could see the sky. The vision faded. I stumbled back, gasping for breath. It wasn't like watching a movie, it was being there. My skin still tingled from whatever energy it had shared. Why are you here? I asked once I could breathe again. It hesitated. The air in the basement seemed to grow colder. Mission. We were searching for a signal, one your kind should never have sent. I frowned. A signal? You mean from Earth? Ta nodded weakly. Your machines reached further than you understood. You woke what sleeps beyond. My kin came to warn you. I sat down slowly, feeling my pulse race in my ears. And NASA knows about this? They were first to hear the answer. They silenced it, hid it beneath code and dust. Project Vesta? The name stuck in my mind like a splinter. Project Vesta. I had never heard of it, but the way it said it like something sacred and forbidden sent a chill down my spine. Why me? I asked. Why crash here? Why come to me? Not by choice. Struck, intercepted. Your watchers guard the sky. I wanted to know more, but the creature's energy was fading fast. Its glow dimmed until it was barely visible. I pulled a blanket tighter around its shoulders and switched off the overhead light to let it rest. As I sat there in the half-dark, I began to hear something faint clicks, like distant static. At first, I thought it was the furnace, but the sound grew louder, sharper, almost rhythmic. I turned off the basement light completely and realized the sound was coming from outside. Through the small basement window, I saw it. Lights moving slowly between the trees. 2, 3 of them. Flashlights. I froze. Nobody should have been out there. My nearest neighbor was half a mile away. Then came the unmistakable crunch of boots on gravel. Ta stirred, eyes snapping open. They found me, it whispered. Who? Who are they? I hissed. Men of Earth, masks of the sky. My heart raced. I grabbed the basement light switch and flipped it off, plunging us into darkness. The only light came from the faint, bluish glow beneath the creature's skin. We waited. The footsteps moved closer to the house. Then silence. Cooper started barking upstairs. Someone knocked on the door. Bang, 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 bang. I didn't move. I could hear muffled voices, male, calm but firm. Sir, this is a restricted area. We're investigating a possible aircraft incident nearby. Please open the door. Aircraft incident. That's what they called it. I whispered to Zerine to stay here. Don't move. They cannot see me, but they feel. I crept upstairs, heart hammering, and opened the door just enough to see 2 men standing on my porch. They weren't wearing uniforms, but everything about them screamed official. Black coats, earpieces, no insignia. Evening, one of them said with a polite smile. We're with the Federal Aviation Authority. We're tracking a potential crash from earlier tonight. You see or hear anything unusual? I hesitated. No, just thunder. Maybe a power line went down. The man tilted his head slightly, studying me. His partner walked past him and glanced around the yard with a handheld device that emitted a soft hum. Mind if we take a quick look around? My throat felt dry. You got a warrant? The man's smile didn't fade, but his tone shifted. You sure you didn't see anything, sir? Behind him, the other man stopped scanning and looked directly toward the basement window. I forced a laugh, trying to sound casual. Sorry, fellas, can't help you, but if I see anything, I'll give the sheriff a call. There was a long pause. Then, finally, the first man nodded. Appreciate it. They walked back toward the trees, flashlights sweeping over the wet grass. I stood there for a full minute after they were gone, barely breathing. When I finally went back downstairs, Jarinta was sitting upright, weak but alert. You lied for me. Yeah, I said softly. Guess I did. Then I will trust you. It lifted a trembling hand and pressed 2 fingers against my forehead. A burst of warmth spread through my skull, and in an instant, images flashed before me. Blurry symbols, lines of data, a map of Earth covered in red dots. Then one word burned into my mind. Vista. When I opened my eyes again, Jarinta was slumped back, exhausted. I tried to ask what it had shown me, but it only managed a faint whisper before losing consciousness again. Find the truth before they erase it. The hum from the wreck in the woods echoed faintly in my ears. Though I was miles away now, something told me I wasn't alone anymore. And somewhere out there, people were already looking for me. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw flashes of what Jarinta had shown me. Those red dots scattered across the map of Earth, pulsing like silent warnings. And that single word that burned in my mind, Vesta. By dawn, the fog outside had thickened into a pale wall. The woods looked dreamlike, unreal. I brewed a pot of coffee with shaking hands and tried to convince myself that what I had seen, the crash, the creature, the men in black coats, was all some vivid hallucination born from exhaustion. But then I heard the low hum again, faint but steady, coming from the basement. Jarinta was awake. I went downstairs quietly. The air was warm, almost humid, and that soft glow radiated from the creature's skin again. It turned its head toward me, the darkness within its eyes rippling faintly, like ink stirred in water. You remember, it said, or rather thought. I remember something, I replied. Flashes, images, but I don't understand them. What is Vesta? The alien was silent for a long moment. Then it lifted one trembling hand and projected something into the air between us, a shimmering field of light, flickering like a hologram. Within it I saw symbols, data streams, and then photographs, actual human photographs. The first was of a barren landscape, dusty, reddish, and cracked, a rover wheel half buried in soil. Then another, a metallic object half sunken in the Martian ground, smooth and seamless, unmistakably alien. They found the first signal here, Jarinta whispered. Not from us, from what came before. I felt a cold sweat form on my forehead. You mean something older than you? Older than your world, it replied. An echo of the builders. They shaped the void before time burned the first star. It paused, sensing my confusion. Your NASA found their trace. A frequency, a pulse spoke without sound. They followed it and uncovered one fragment beneath your South Pole. You call that place Antarctica. Antarctica. That single word tightened something deep in my chest. Wait, I said. Are you telling me NASA found what? A machine? A structure? Jarinta's expression, if it could be called that, darkened. Not a machine, one they could not open, but tried. The hologram shifted. Now I saw the frozen white expanse of Antarctica, then a deep black hole carved into the ice. Inside, enormous, crystalline shapes like circuitry frozen in time. I saw men in heavy parkas surrounding the opening, hauling strange equipment. They took what they found and hid it, the alien said. They called it Project Vista. They built walls of silence around it. Those who spoke vanished. My pulse quickened. So NASA knew all along that aliens existed? They knew the builders existed. We are not the same. We only came because their work stirred again. Stirred? I asked. You mean It activated? Jireen Ta nodded slowly. Something beneath the ice began to awaken. The pulse that once slept started reaching across the stars. We heard it. We feared it. It shifted, struggling to sit upright. Its skin shimmered with faint golden veins, as though light was coursing through it. We came to silence the signal, to warn you. But the Watchers intercepted us. They hunt what they do not understand. The Watchers, I murmured. You mean NASA again? Or those men in black? NASA is only a hand. The Watchers are the eyes. It looked directly at me then, and I felt a flood of emotion that wasn't my own. Sorrow, fear, and a profound sense of loss. They took one of my kin before the crash. The others, gone. I swallowed hard. I'm sorry. Do not be. You helped me when your own would not. The alien reached out and touched my wrist gently. For an instant, my skin burned, not painfully, but with a sharp warmth, as if something living had passed through me. Images filled my mind again. A secret facility buried in ice. Men in hazmat suits working around a glowing monolith. A symbol etched into metal, the same circle with 3 dividing lines, and above it, stamped faintly, NASA Vesta Division. When I opened my eyes, I was gasping. What do they want with it? I asked. What could be so important they'd kill for it? They believe it can open a path, but the builders left warning. The gate is not a door to travel. It is a seal to keep something out. That sentence hung in the air like a blade. Out? I repeated. Yes, the void beyond. The hunger between stars. What you call darkness. The alien's tone shifted, softer, almost like a plea. They think they can harness it, but if they open it, your world will not survive the first breath. My mind spun. None of it sounded real, yet everything about Jireen Ta, the way it spoke, the way the images appeared in my head, carried a weight that logic couldn't dismiss. Hours passed. Outside, the sun rose pale and cold through the fog. I blocked the basement windows with cardboard, afraid of drones or satellites or whoever might be watching. Jireen Ta was getting weaker again. Its glow dimmed, its breathing shallow. I didn't know how to help. My medicine cabinet didn't exactly include interstellar supply. I found an old power inverter in my garage and thought maybe it needed energy. I connected the terminals to a small solar battery and ran a low current through the air near its body. The creature flinched at first, then exhaled a sound like wind through glass. Better, it whispered. Energy familiar? I smiled faintly. So you run on electricity? Not yours, but close enough. For the first time it gave a faint chuckle, a strange vibrating sound that seemed to echo from inside my bone. That fragile moment of calm didn't last. Around noon, my phone, which had been dead since the night before, suddenly turned on by itself. The screen glowed white, displaying only one line of text. Delete all recordings. No number, no sender, just that. Then it powered off again. I turned to Jireen Ta, who was staring at the phone as if it were a loaded weapon. They are closer, it said quietly. They are watching through your machines. I shut off the breaker for the whole house. The hum of the refrigerator, the buzz of the lights, everything died. Silence fell like a blanket. Good, it whispered. Now they cannot hear. I sat beside it in the dark. For the first time I wasn't afraid, not of it at least. What scared me was the idea that everything it said might be true. Jireen, I said finally, if all this is real, why tell me? I'm no one. I can't stop NASA. I can't stop the Watchers. It looked at me with that deep, unblinking gaze. Because you still listen. Most have forgotten how. Then it raised its hand again and pressed 2 fingers against my temple. The world fell away. This time I saw Earth from space, but not the Earth I knew. Massive cracks spider-webbed across its surface. Fires burned through the clouds. From the poles, streams of dark light poured upward into space like reversed lightning. "This is what comes when the gate opens," Jarinta said within my mind. "We tried to close it before. We failed." Then the vision shifted again. I saw a group of humans standing in a white laboratory, the NASA logo on the wall, a screen displaying the word Vista Initiative, a man in a suit speaking urgently. "Phase 3 begins next cycle. The Antarctic core will be breached within the month." The image shattered. I was back in my basement, trembling, sweat soaking my shirt. Jarinta slumped back, drained from the effort. "You have seen. Now you know why they will not let me live." I stared at it, my voice barely a whisper. "Then what do we do?" "You must tell them, show them, but not now. Not here. They listen for every voice that speaks the truth." I wanted to argue, to tell it that no one would believe me, that a random man on the internet claiming NASA was hiding a cosmic gate would sound insane. But then I remembered the men at my door, the message on my phone, the strange hum in the night. Maybe they already knew I believed. Outside, the wind picked up, rattling the old window panes. Snow began to fall, though the forecast had called for clear skies. The power stayed off. Down in that dim basement, I sat beside a dying alien and realized my world had already changed. There was no going back. I woke to the sound of static. For a moment I thought it was just the old radio in the corner. It sometimes picked up strange frequencies from the nearby airbase. But when I reached for it, the static stopped, then started again. Not from the radio, from the walls. Every nail, every piece of metal in the basement was vibrating, humming faintly in rhythm with a distant pulse. Jarinta stirred, its body flickering like a dying light. "They've locked onto us," it whispered. "They trace energy." Every heartbeat, every signal. I ran upstairs, heart pounding, and looked through the kitchen window. In the distance, beyond the trees, I saw them, 3 black SUVs, parked half-hidden near the road. No headlights, no license plates. I dropped the curtain. "They're here. You must not fight them," Jarinta said from below. "They bring weapons meant for silence, but I couldn't just wait to be taken." I moved through the house, killing any remaining light, pulling down shade. Cooper paced nervously by the door, whining. Then came the first sound, a low thump that rolled through the ground, shaking the floorboards. A shock wave, invisible but strong enough to rattle my teeth. I fell to one knee, gasping. What the hell was that? They use pulses to disable thought, to erase memory. "You must resist." I clutched my head as a high-pitched tone filled my ears. For a second I saw flashes, white corridors, bright lights, voices shouting orders. "Contain the subject. Recover the artifact. No witnesses." Then darkness. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on the floor, the basement door cracked open. Jarinta stood above me, glowing brighter than ever, its energy forming faint arcs across the walls. "I shielded you," it said, "but they will breach soon." "What do we do?" I asked, barely able to breathe. "We must move to where their eyes cannot see, the underground. The signal weakens below stone." I packed what I could, flashlight, water, a few tools, and helped Jarinta to its feet. Its form was flickering, translucent around the edges. We made our way out through the back door, down the slope, toward the old root cellar near the tree line. Snow was falling harder now, thick flakes swirling like ash. The world felt distorted, too quiet, too still. As we reached the cellar, a bright beam swept across the yard behind us. Voices shouted, human but cold and precise. "Visual contact confirmed. Move in." "Bullets?" "No." The sound that followed wasn't gunfire. It was a deep whine, and the air around us shimmered like boiling water. A surge of blue light exploded across the ground, freezing everything in place for half a second. Jirin Tar cried out, not in sound, but through my mind, a piercing wave of pain. I dragged it into the cellar, slamming the heavy wooden door behind us. The floor trembled as another pulse hit, dust raining from the beams above. They will not stop, it whispered, but they cannot enter here without breaking their own code. What code? I gasped. The code of silence. If they kill you, too many will see. They erased quietly. The glow from its skin dimmed again. I could feel its life slipping away like sand through my fingers. Then, weakly, it reached into the folds of its strange garment and handed me something small, a smooth black object, no bigger than a coin with the same three-lined circle carved into it. Keep this. It holds the truth, the key to the builder's gate. I turned it over in my palm. It pulsed once, alive. When the sky burns green, Shirinta whispered, the gate will open again. Outside I heard engines starting. The SUVs were pulling away. For now I exhaled shakily. They're gone. No, it said softly. They wait. Always wait. The snowstorm thickened, sealing us inside the earth. For the first time in my life, I understood what it meant to be hunted not by men, but by truth itself. We stayed underground for 2 days. I rationed water, kept the lantern dim, and listened. No voices, no vehicles, just wind and distant thunder that never seemed to fade. Jarinta was dying. Its glow had shrunk to a faint pulse near its chest, like a fading ember. Yet even near death it kept speaking, teaching. Your people were not meant to find the builders, it said weakly. They left the stars to sleep, but curiosity is the oldest hunger. I asked what the builders were. Gods, aliens, something else? It took a long breath before answering. They were architects of matter. They wove planets the way your kind weaves cloth, but something followed them, a shadow. It devoured their worlds, leaving only silence, so they sealed it away within your planet's core. That is what sleeps beneath your ice. The gate, I said. Yes, the gate is a wound closed by their will. But humans dig for power. They dig too deep. I stared at the small black device in my hand, the key. What does this do? It can awaken or destroy, only when joined with its twin. There's another one, hidden where the builders first touched your world. The crater you call Vesta. My heart froze. Vesta, the same name as NASA's secret project. You mean the asteroid? Not an asteroid, a fragment, a seed of the builder's design. They found it long ago, and from it they learned to build their machines, your rockets, your satellites, your code. But they never understood the source. Its voice grew weaker, but the intensity in its eyes remained. Now the seed calls to the gate. The signal grows. If they connect, your sky will open, and what waits beyond will feed. I sat there in silence, the weight of it all pressing on me like a mountain. I didn't know what to believe anymore. But I knew one thing. If any of this was real, it couldn't stay buried. That night, I dreamt again. In the dream, I stood on a frozen plain, the air shimmering green with auroras. Before me, a vast chasm opened, and from its depths came light, not warm, but hungry, twisting. And within that light, I heard a voice, cold and infinite. You are late. I woke drenched in sweat, the small device pulsing faintly on the table beside me. Jarin Top was watching. The gate calls to you now. It knows you carry the key. I swallowed hard. Then tell me how to stop it. When the Watchers open the core, you must be there. Use the key against its twin. Only one who has touched both worlds can end the signal. I stared at it. You mean me. Yes, you. The light inside. The one who listened. Its gaze softened, and I realized this was goodbye. When I am gone, burn my remains. Do not let them take me. They would twist what they do not understand. Don't talk like that, I said. We'll find a way. But its body was already dissolving, light breaking into motes that drifted upward like fireflies in slow motion. Remember, it whispered, fading, truth is not hidden in the stars, it is buried beneath your feet. And then, silent. Only the faint hum of the device remained. The snowstorm ended 3 days later. By then, Gerin-Ta was gone, reduced to nothing but faint dust that shimmered and then dissolved into the air. But the small black device still pulsed on my desk, faintly glowing in rhythm with my heartbeat. It wasn't random, it was alive. I had no idea what to do next. The men who came before hadn't returned, but I knew they were still out there, waiting for a mistake, for movement. And in my dreams I kept seeing Antarctica, a hole in the ice, a green light bleeding through. The name echoed again and again in my mind. Project Vesta. I needed answers. I packed a bag, took some cash, and drove. No GPS, no phone, just old maps and a compass. I headed south first, less obvious, then east, keeping off highways. For a week I moved like a ghost, sleeping in cheap motels and truck stops. Every night I listened to the radio for strange signal. On the 5th night I found one. It was a shortwave broadcast on a frequency no one should have been using, 12.26 megahertz. The voice was distorted, but clear enough to make out. Vesta coordinates compromised. Relocation to Site Epsilon scheduled. Repeat, Site Epsilon. Gate integrity holding. Core breach in 72 hours. The date they mentioned, 72 hours, that was 3 days from now. I knew what I had to do. Through an old contact in Anchorage, a retired pilot who owed me a favor, I managed to hitch a flight toward McMurdo Station, Antarctica. Officially, I was listed as a research assistant. Unofficially, I was just a man with a backpack and a secret that could destroy the world. When I landed, the sky was an endless expanse of white. The cold felt alive, biting through my gloves, burning my lungs. I stayed close to a small research group heading inland toward the South Pole. They thought I was with another team. No one questioned it. 2 days later, we reached a restricted zone, a circular perimeter marked with unmarked signs. Beyond it stood a set of reinforced steel structures half buried in ice. Guards patrolled the area in silence. Their uniforms bore no insignia. Their weapons, sleek, black, humming faintly, were unlike anything I'd seen before. I'd found Site Epsilon. That night, while the others slept, I crept toward the perimeter fence. The small black device in my pocket began to vibrate, almost like it was guiding me. I found a narrow maintenance tunnel beneath the ice and crawled through it, emerging inside a massive underground facility. What I saw there still haunts me. Rows of machines, each one humming with energy. Cylindrical pods containing what looked like fragments of alien material, glowing shards similar to Gerin-Ta's skin. And in the center of it all, a colossal circular structure half embedded in ice. The gate, its surface pulsed with faint green light, veins of energy running outward like roots. Scientists in heavy suits moved around it, monitoring readings on holographic displays. On the far wall, the NASA insignia shimmered beside another, Vesta Division. Then I heard a familiar voice echo through the chamber, calm, commanding. We proceed tomorrow at 0800. The pulse will stabilize once we connect the Vesta core fragment. Once it's complete, the signal will open. I froze. The speaker stepped into view, a man in a silver uniform, older, with sharp eyes. I recognized him instantly from Gerin-Ta's memories, the same man who had ordered Phase 3, the man who led Project Vesta. I listened as he continued. We've waited decades for this. The Builder's technology will take humanity beyond the stars. This is our destiny. But as he spoke, the gate's light flickered, not rhythmic, but alive, pulsing faster, like it was reacting to his words. The air trembled. A deep, subsonic hum filled the room. Then, for a moment, I saw something through the gate, a darkness shifting beyond it, as if the void itself was watching back. My chest tightened. I could feel Jarinta's voice in my mind again, faint but urgent. Close it, or all will burn. I didn't remember moving, only running. An alarm blared as red lights flashed across the facility. My presence had been detected. I sprinted through the corridors, clutching the device, searching for a way to reach the gate. Guards appeared behind me, not shouting, not even angry, just efficient. They moved in perfect formation, firing those humming weapons that distorted the air. Wherever the blasts hit, metal twisted and melted like wax. I dove through a maintenance hatch and fell into a lower level, a massive tunnel running beneath the ice. The walls pulsed with faint green light, veins of alien circuitry running like roots through the frozen ground. The device in my hand pulsed faster. It wanted to connect. Overhead, through cracks in the ice, I could see the aurora shimmering green and gold. And I remembered what Jarinta had said. When the sky burns green, the gate will open again. That time was now. The ground trembled as the gate above roared to life. Through the walls I heard the faint rumble of machinery and the screams of those who stood too close. A voice echoed through the facility's intercom. Core synchronization complete. The Vesta fragment is active. Initiate link sequence. The temperature dropped instantly. Frost formed across my gloves. My breath turned to ice crystals. Then the green light from above turned black. Not the absence of light, a darkness that consumed it. I stumbled forward, following the pull of the device. It led me to a circular chamber filled with conduit and strange machinery. At the center was another fragment, a crystalline shard humming with energy. The twin. I held my device close. Both pulsed in perfect sync, two hearts beating together. Jarinta's voice whispered in my mind, faint as a dying flame. Now, choose to awaken or to end. I hesitated. If I destroyed it, maybe the gate would collapse, but maybe it would take the whole facility, maybe even the continent with it. But then I remembered the dream, the voice beyond the gate whispering, "You are late." Whatever waited there, I couldn't let it cross. I pressed the two fragments together. For an instant, time stopped. The world flashed white. Then came the sound, not an explosion, but a low, endless chord, vibrating through my bones. The air rippled. The walls cracked. Light poured from the machines, bending, twisting, folding in on itself. I felt weightless. Voices screamed around me. Human, alien, something in between. Then everything went silent. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on the snow outside. The facility was gone, buried beneath a smooth, glassy crater. The sky above burned with green auroras that slowly faded to pale blue. I was alive. But in my pocket, the device, both fragments fused into one, still pulsed softly. And in the distance on the horizon, I saw black dots moving toward me. Helicopters coming fast. I turned and started walking toward the endless white. I trudged through the snow, each step heavier than the last. The auroras had faded to pale blue, leaving the sky empty and silent. My lungs burned, my body ached, but I carried the device close to my chest like a beating heart. I knew they were coming. The black helicopters appeared on the horizon, fast, precise, like predators closing in on prey. I stopped and turned, feeling a presence beside me. Not Jarinta, not fully, but a memory, a lingering essence. You survived, it whispered in my mind, faint but warm. But the burden is yours now. I knelt in the snow, holding the device. I don't know if I can protect it. You must. Truth is heavier than ignorance, but lighter than fear. Remember, the gate sleeps now because you resisted, but the world will try to wake it. A sudden gust of wind carried the faint scent of ozone. I closed my eyes. For a moment I could feel Sharinte's warmth, its presence fading like a last ember. I will guide you. Silently always. Farewell. And then it was gone. I stood alone. The wind howled across the ice, carrying away the faint traces of light that had been my companion for days. The price of truth had been paid, and the world would never know. Back in the United States, life resumed, though nothing felt normal. Every news report, every satellite launch, every space mission now felt like a lie, a veil covering something far older, far stranger than humanity had imagined. I looked at the device, pulsing softly, and realized the truth Sharinta had left me. NASA didn't just explore space, it guarded it. Vesta wasn't just a mission, it was a watchtower, a containment project to prevent something beyond comprehension from entering our world. Humanity had reached for the stars, but not for knowledge, for power. And somewhere, deep beneath the ice, the gate still slept, waiting for the next curious soul, the next mistake, the next signal. I wrote down everything I could remember, every pulse, every word, every sight. I knew the world would dismiss it, call it fiction, but some truths weren't meant to be broadcast, only to be remembered, preserved, and acted upon when necessary. As I looked out at the night sky, I could almost hear the faint hum of distant stars whispering, warning, we are watching. We always have been. And now, this is where you come in. If you've listened this far, if your heart has raced with mine through snowstorms, secret facilities, and the whispers of an alien being, you know there's more out there than we're told. The story doesn't end with me. It lives in you, in your curiosity, your questions, your willingness to see beyond the veil. So here's what I ask. Subscribe to this channel if you want to continue exploring the unknown. Share this story not as fiction, but as a question. What else is hidden? Keep your eyes open to the skies and your mind open to the mysteries beneath your feet, because the universe is bigger, older, and far more dangerous than we imagine. And somewhere in the shadows, the gate waits. Will humanity awaken it or resist it? Only time will tell. And one day you might hear a faint pulse in the night, a reminder that the truth is out there and it's waiting for the brave.